This is your one and only Firespark81 with your daily dose of video goodness, and today we are taking a look at the WEdit mod, also known as World Edit. You're gonna have to follow very closely because there's some things you need to do, and there's a little bit of misinformation out there, so that's why I'm making this guide to walk you all through it. Plus I'm gonna be using it in the next build video I do, so I figured I'd go ahead and do this. So if you want to build along or have 1,000 billion questions, most of them should be answered here. Okay, so once you've downloaded the mod, you are going to hit C and bring up your crafting menu. You are going to scroll down. You are going to see this box here. You are going to craft that box. It's going to put it in your inventory. Don't worry about it just yet. Then you're going to hit enter to bring up your chat menu, and you're going to type in /admin. That's going to put you in admin mode. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to do is hit enter again and type /debug. That's going to put you in debug mode. Now there's one final thing you're going to need to do. You're going to make sure that you have the dash tech equipped. So grab yourself a tech console, slap that bad boy down, go into it and make sure that your body tech is set to dash. This whole mod is bound to your dash tech. So if you have another mod that changes the dash tech or messes with text too much, there is a chance that it could interfere with this mod. So make sure that you have plain old vanilla dash tech equipped. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of this because we don't need this anymore. And if things look a little weird, it's on full bright, so I didn't have to keep making it day because it's rather annoying. Anyway, once you have done all of that, you're going to hit I to bring up your menu, and you're going to go over to the little wrench here, and there will be this box in your inventory. Now, I advise cleaning everything else out of your inventory. What you see here are the tools we're about to spawn. This makes things easier to find in this inventory while you're building. So once you've done that and you have this inventory empty and all you have is this box, you're going to take it and pick it up like this and then just do a little left click, just bam, just a little left click like that. It's going to pop all of these tools into your menu here, and I'm not going to redo it because I don't need a duplicate set of these tools, so we're just going to put that back like that. Now I went through and I arranged mine the way that I like them, and once I go through all of them, you should be able to arrange them the way you like them. I have the ones I use most here, the ones I use a little bit right here, and the ones I barely touch at all right here. And there is an undo. I always keep it up in the top left hand corner. Okay, now we're just going to drag this menu up here because you need to keep this open. Now I want to state before anybody says anything, because I know somebody's going to say something in the comments, there is an updated version of this that adds a tool, and you download another mod that allows you to, it's basically an all-in-one tool. It brings up an extra menu somewhere on your screen and you can just click it and that tool does everything. I started to do the spotlight with that version of the mod and was running into some bugs, so I decided to revert back to the previous version that I was using that I wasn't having any issues with. So due to bugs, I'm not doing the most current version. If you want to play with the most current version, have at it. It's probably the only one you can download. I mean, if you did a little bit of snooping around, you could probably find a previous version on the GitHub, but I'm using the previous version, or an older version I should say. I mean, other than the bugs and one extra tool, everything's the exact same. Okay, let's get on with the tools because we got a lot to cover. Got your learning caps on. All right, here we go. First thing you have is your select tool. That's going to allow you to select a chunk of screen. Just like that. Look at that. We selected a chunk of screen. This is going to be one of the main ways you affect large chunks of area. So look, bam, there we go. Selected that large chunk. Oh, look, we selected that large chunk. So unless I tell you otherwise throughout this video, your main fire, your left click, is going to be what affects your foreground blocks. Your right click will be what affects the background blocks. Now, the select tool is a little bit different. Your main fire is what selects, and your alt fire is what gets rid of the selection. Okay, so like I said, this is your main tool. So we're going to make a selection right here, just a little chunk like that. And we have our fill bucket, and we can click with our main fire and fill it up. So you can see here, we can't get in it, and it's solid blocks. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this does give you the ability to hit G, and you can no clip and move around through things. So that's super handy while you're building. Okay, so once you have this filled, say you don't like it, you can go over to your erase tool and you can main fire and just get rid of it. Now you can also Alt Fire and fill the background. Same with the eraser, except it does the opposite. Okay, so those are your main tools right there that you're gonna find really super handy, and everything else is just affecting those mainly and what you can do with those. Now I want to point out one thing. There is the ruler tool, and that allows you to make a selection like so, and then you can click and fill that selection. Now for some reason it's not filling the whole selection at one time. It used to do that, but when I swapped mods back and forth from the new version to the old version, now it's making me click to fill them, which is really weird. But I don't really like the ruler tool because it breaks the blocks up, yes, so you can see each individual block, but at the same time you have to count them, which is kind of annoying. So mod author, if you watch this, if somebody sends it to you, whatever, can you make it so this actually shows us the number of blocks like the selection tool? So when I'm counting blocks, what I do is I use the selection tool, because you can see here it shows me I have 8 blocks selected at 2 deep. So if I just need to know, how far is 6 blocks, I can just drag down like that until I get to 6, which is right there. If I want to know how many blocks I have here, I could just select the whole thing straight down, and I could see that this is one column and it's 11 blocks deep. Same thing across, I can do the exact same thing. You can see we just selected 14 blocks wide and we're only 1 block deep. So I mainly use the selection tool for everything. I hardly ever touch the ruler tool. We're gonna get rid of this, and we're just gonna select it and use our erase tool and get rid of it. Now say you wanna select a different block. You don't like you're not building with dirt blocks, of course. That's where the color picker comes in, and your color picker is basically your block picker. Now you click it, and of course left click, and we've selected the foreground, and you can right click and select the background, which is both Direstone. Now we can also select air and basically turn our filler tool into an erase tool. For now, we're going to select the Direstone so that I can show you some other good stuff. We're going to grab our selection tool here, and we're going to select this little chunk right here. Now, one thing I really like about this, and because we're in debug mode, you can see here that, let me see if I can get over here where we can see a little better. You can see that the world edit shows us basically everything we need to know about the tool we've selected because we're in the debug mode. So we can see that our alt fires to replace all blocks, we're replacing with Direstone. Our current layer is the foreground, and if I highlight over a block, we're replacing dry sand. So if I come over here and I want to just replace this little patch of dirt, all I have to do is click, and it's going to replace that little patch of dirt with Direstone. Okay, that's great, but what if I want to affect the background layer? Well, you can do that as well. So we're going to erase our foreground layer here. We're going to go to our layer tool. Now this doesn't affect every tool, it only affects some tools, and one of those is your replace tool. So we just give it a little click, and now we are affecting the background. Now note that I right click that time to select. Right click selects the background, left click selects your foreground. So we go back to our background. Now we are affecting the background. I can highlight over that and just give her a little click. It's gonna, fill everything with dirt apparently, and then come back and you will see that it has been changed. So that is the replace tool. Okay, those are some quick basics. Let's get into a little more complex stuff. We also have the stamp tool. Now the stamp tool is really neat because you can copy and paste things. So let me grab and make another selection here, and we're just going to kind of fill some of this in. I'm going to make a little bit of a semi-complex shape, not super complex. Okay, so we have our shape here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select our shape like so. I like to get, unless you're doing a really tedious build, it's pretty much a good idea to get at least 1 block around your shape in a little area like that. That way we're sure we have everything. Now I'm going to take my stamp tool. Now here's where the stamp tool gets a little tricky, and it's tricky because if you're not paying attention you can screw things up. Your primary fire, your left click, that's going to make your copy. So there we go, we've copied. You can see that it turned blue and we have a world edit paste selection now. Now if we no clip through that and come on over here and we clear our selection, you can see that our selection's gone now. Now we draw a new selection. You can see that it shows us the selection of our paste. So you want to fill that selection with your new selection that you're making. So basically you want your green box to be the same size as your blue box or bigger, but it's not going to let you go bigger because it starts from this corner here. So even if I was to drag here, you can see that it goes by the bottom left hand corner. So it's always good when you're trying to repaste something to start from the bottom left hand corner, select it like that. Now here's where things get a little bit tricky, because if I copy right now, I'm going to copy air, and then you lose everything that you just copied in that you want to paste, and you have to go copy it again. The reason I'm pointing this out is because I've done this many times. You get in a hurry and you hit the wrong button and you screw things up. Make sure when you're ready to paste, you take your time. You make sure that you're going to Alt Fire, you're going to right click, and you're going to fill the area. That's going to copy and paste everything that you, well, maybe it's going to half paste. See, this is really weird because this is the bug that I was running into before. So I'm just going to paste it again. There we go. Now it's working. So then you're going to paste your object. As you see, we have a duplicate now of our object. So that's great, but what if I want to mirror the object? Well, you can do that too. So we're going to delete that with the eraser, and we're going to take this tool here. This is your flip tool. So what I want to do is flip it so that it mirrors this shape here. So we're going to flip it horizontally. Now that is my primary fire. If I right click, it does the vertically. So we can turn vertically on and off, or turn either of them on and off by right clicking. So I'm going to turn both of them off. We're just going to do a horizontal flip. Now we're going to go back to our stamp tool, and we are going to paste it. Hopefully it pastes properly this time. Nope, not. It's doing it again. See, something got screwed up somewhere. I'm not sure what it is. I was never had any problems with this till I installed the new version. Anyway, it's working. We got it. It shows you what it's meant to do anyway. So there you go. You can see that we made a mirror version of our little design there. So we're going to clear all of that out, and we are going to do the schematics tool now. Now say I like this design. I like the way it is, and I like these mirrored back to back like this. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. Pretend they're buildings. So I'm going to select both of these like you see here, and now we have them both selected, and we're going to go to our schematic maker. Now all you do once you have your selection made, if you want a schematic of it, is just do your normal old left click fire. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all of those, get rid of them. They're no longer needed, and we are going to clear our selection. Now you can see that we have a new item, and this is our schematic. Every time you make a schematic with the schematic maker, it's going to give you one of these new items. Now what you can do is take your selection and draw it out like so. And we have our selection made, and we have our schematic, and it shows us where in this area, based on this bottom left hand corner, that we're going to paste this schematic. So the only downside here is when you're selecting, you can't see your schematic selection. See, we see our paste selection but not our schematic, and you can't paste it without a selection made. So we're going to remake our selection nice and big, and we're going to go back to our schematic. And now we can just click, and there you go. It's going to rebuild our little whatever they were for us right back where they were. So that's how schematics are used. And if you don't want this schematic anymore, you can just throw it in the trash, and we can Alt click to get rid of all of that. Now there is another menu that you need to know about, and that is in your matter manipulator, because you have to have the manipulated UI in order to use this mod, and it tells you that when you go to install it. You're going to click here where it says open the world edit. There's a lot of stuff you can configure in here, everything from your no clip speed to moving around. So you can see now I move around relatively fast. If you don't like that, you can actually change that here. Iteration delay, I'm not 100% sure what that does. You can also click this checkbox to clear all schematics, and there's an X here. You don't see it, but trust me, there's one here. When we click that, it's going to activate that check mark and clear all of the schematics that you have in your memory. So we're going to click that, bring that back up, because there's more stuff that I want to show you. There is also your brush shape. You can change it from circle to square. You can change its radius, the block size, radius, and matte mod size. Well, we'll get into those in a second. So let's show you the pencil. This is your pencil, and I just showed you its radius, how you can change that. We have a decent sized pencil right now, and all you do with the pencil is you just paint. It just fills in. It's like a brush. You can see we can just fill in huge chunks. Same with the background, huge chunks like that. So you can paint really quickly and really easy, nice large areas. So you've painted in everything, but here's a nifty little trick. If you go up here and you just select air, so we're painting air right now, right? Just make sure you don't have any blocks selected when you use your picker tool and you use your pencil. You actually turn your pencil into an eraser. So now, instead of painting blocks, we're removing blocks. Instead of using the eraser to remove huge chunks of selection, you're actually painting them away. So that's a neat little trick. Okay, now we're going to get some other tools here. We have our block pinner. This works similar to the schematics. So if there's a block that you want to paint with, let's see. Let's go down here, see if we can get something. No, it looks like, here we go. Let's paint with that. You can see once I clicked it that it put a little block symbol right here. So we have a new brush that we can now paint with, just the same way that we paint with our brush tool. You can actually see that it overwrites the other blocks as you're painting, and you can affect the background, or yeah, the background just the same as the foreground. And that is where I showed you here. That would be your block radius. If we change that to 4 and we go back out, you can see that now we're painting the same size as our pencil tool was. So that's a good way if you're painting something complex to just save different blocks that you're painting with, so you're not constantly going back and forth and picking different blocks and stuff like that. One thing I like to do is I'll pick blocks that I want to use, and then I'll make like a little color palette off to the side. I'll just say, okay, I'm going to be using a lot of this one, and I'm going to be using a lot of this one, and I'm going to be using a lot of this one. So I just stack them there like that, and then as I'm building, I can just look over and be like, bam, okay, now we're painting with outpost wall, or there we go, now we're painting with support, or now we're painting with, if I can select it, well, apparently it doesn't like that, cobblestone. There we go, now we're painting with cobblestone. So that's how I usually do it. I don't really use this, but I've never really, when I build, I use the select tool and I build in square blocks. So yeah, that's my building. I mean, I could see the block tool would be really helpful if you're painting terrain. So next up we have our hydrator and our dehydrator. They work exactly how you think they would work. You make a selection like so, and you go to your hydrator, you right click to cycle through your liquids. So let's say we want some swamp water, and then you just click and it fills that area with swamp water. The dehydrator works the same. It's just going to remove whatever liquids you have selected. Pretty simple stuff. Next up we have the matte mod. This actually picks the type of, what's the word I'm looking for? The like grass or whatever that's on top of your block. So if I pick that, you can see that we just selected sand. Now I can just do this and I paint sand on the blocks. And you can change its size in your menu as well. That would be this right here. So it works the same way, whatever is covering your ground, whether it be grass or sand in this case, apparently. You click it and it gives you a block, and then you can just use it to paint with. So we can just put sand on everything. So that would be the Matte Mod Pinner. Okay, next we have the Matte Mod Remover, and this does pretty much what you think it would do. It removes whatever matte mods you just put on there. So, you know, who want to remove grass or all this crazy sand, you can just click it and it removes from the blocks for you. Pretty explanatory. Next we have the block modifier. Now this one's kind of different than most because it does a lot of crazy stuff to block. So right now if we click that, we're putting a bone on top of it. You can use your alt fire to cycle through different stuff. You can place ore in the ground. So if we want to fill a bunch of ore in here, you can see that now that is ore. And if I switch over to my mining tool and I click it, you can see that we just picked up a bunch of ore. So this is going to be your block to modify different blocks, but I mean, it does a lot of different stuff. So you can see now we're painting the Icarus fuel. Here, now we're painting grass. So you can also paint the matte mods with it. So if you want grass, you know, painted on some biome that doesn't normally have it, you can do it that way. More ore. And it just overwrites whatever you had previously done to that block as you're painting with it. So that is the modifier tool. So next up we have the undo tool that does pretty much what you think it would do if you replace a block or screw something up. So if we just make this selection here, and now we go here and we replace this block with dirt. And now say I don't want to do that, I can click my undo tool and it puts it back the way it was. So that's the undo tool. And I'm pretty sure that is everything. I think we've covered everything. So before I end this video, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been so freaking supportive and awesome. You all are awesome, especially to my Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for all your awesome support. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy and you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and show your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.